Hello folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. I hope everyone's having a good day wherever in the world you are. Been a busy day here. I had another international guest on the show earlier, Mr. Anthony Austin, who has been a frequent guest on Porky's Corner and has had some very, very favourable reviews when he's been on there. He and I spoke for the full 40 minutes that the free version of Zoom allows, and we talked about basically bad reffing and poor decisions, in particularly the Donovan and the Tank Davis fights. If you've not yet had a chance to take a look at the video, please do. Please give me your feedback. Let me know. This video, I've had sort of the concept bouncing around in my head for a little while. And it's really to do with Daniel Dubois. And it's to do with my reticence or reluctance to really get behind Daniel and be a fan of his. You've heard me commenting on this channel, and you may or may not have read comments I've left on other people's channels where I'm skeptical or doubtful about Daniel. And I thought what I should do is I should bring my thoughts together in sort of one semi-coherent 12-minute sort of video so that you can understand why it is I'm not really a fan of his, because on paper I should be. And I say that because, absent a leading Canadian heavyweight, I'm often very supportive of the Brit heavyweights. I support Anthony Joshua. I support Commonwealth fighters as well, like, Joe Parker, for example. And the only one I've sort of not really ever been a fan of is Tyson Fury. But Daniel Dubois has got everything going for him. He's got a lot of things going for him that Tyson doesn't. Like Tyson is loud and he's sort of trash talky, which I personally don't really like. Whereas Daniel is a real gentleman. He doesn't trash talk. He behaves impeccably outside of the ring whenever you see him. He's also very well dressed. He's stylish. And he's the perfect build for a boxer. He clearly is in shape all the time. He doesn't let himself sort of get fat and out of shape. So he sort of comes across as a consummate professional athlete. Clearly, very well schooled, very respectful and all that sort of good stuff, right? He's got a great record, 22-2, 6'5". Like I say, he's just the absolute, Greek god of a build, always in top shape. And, I should be a fan of his, right? But I'm not, and I thought, well, really, what's sort of holding me back here? He took a loss against Joe Joyce, and he came back with a string of 4 or 5 KOs and TKOs. Then he takes a loss against Alexander Usyk, and then he's come back with Big Baby Miller, Hrgovic, and absolutely destroyed Anthony Joshua, right? And so I thought, well, what is it that really sort of bugs me? And I think one of the things that's stuck in my head is whenever there's a big fight and Daniel Dubois is speaking ahead of the fight, he always uses a certain phrase: by all means necessary. And at first, when I heard that phrase, I thought it was just, puffery, just a fighter saying, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll get in the ring, I'll mix it up, blood, sweat, tears, whatever style, I will overcome all challenges. Totally good stuff, right? But it kind of just bounced around in my head. And then the more I heard it, the more it sort of resonated with me. And, we've seen in the Usyk fight, we saw a low blow. The ref called it a low blow. 50% of the people out there will say it wasn't a low blow. 50% of the people might say it was a low blow. But the point is the ref said it was a low blow. And I was wondering, did that fall into the by any means necessary, by all means necessary? And then I thought, you're thinking too much about this. And then we see the Hrgovic fight. And Daniel was certainly not averse to using his head. And again, I thought, by all means necessary. What does that mean? And something that's I'm thinking about is that Daniel is a very straightforward, uncomplicated fellow. He does not appear to be in sole command of his own career. And I contrast Daniel with his younger sister Caroline, who I am a fan of. Very much so. I like Caroline. And Caroline seems to be, if you listen to her, she's on the ball, she's articulate, she's clear about what she wants. She's had a falling out with her father, and she's with Shane McGuigan, and she's very much not just a great athlete, she also seems a very competent businesswoman. Somebody who's got her own mind and wants to do things her own way. I don't think you could say that about Daniel. Daniel's more passive, and clearly, absolutely respectful towards his father, who has maybe even an oversized role in his son's career, to the point that Daniel will very rarely mention his trainer Don Charles. It's all about my dad, my dad, my dad. And I wonder if Daniel is sometimes trying to convey something to the wider world when he says, by all means necessary. Daniel, I don't believe, is the kind of person who would engage in politician-type language. He's not duplicitous at all. He's, in my view, not going to mislead people. And I wonder, just ponder, no allegation, no disparagement, no disrespect meant here. I wonder if Daniel is telling us something. Is it possible that Daniel isn't in charge of his own career to the extent that he would like to be, and the by all means necessary is a message to us that he might be forced to do things that he would otherwise perhaps choose not to? I don't know. Of course I don't know. And I'm sort of playing amateur psychologist here and probably not doing a very good job of it. Some people have said that Daniel is on some sort of spectrum. I don't know if that's true. I'm not qualified to comment. If it is true, then maybe he's trying to tell the broader world something that he would rather not say, or maybe it's just a phrase. Maybe I'm looking for something that's not there. But when I think about by all means necessary, and then I juxtapose that with his withdrawal from the Parker fight over, at first, on doctor's orders. Maybe Frank Warren was talking about taking antihistamines. Somebody else, both his father and his trainer, said they pulled him out. So it's, doctor's orders, and we pulled him out. They're slightly different. Apparently, according to Dan Dubois, his father, the doctor examined his son and said he had some viral infection. And the doctor said, I wouldn't fight if I was you. You'll be good for about 3 rounds and then you'll get tired. And Stan says, based on that, we pulled Daniel out. That's not quite doctor's orders. It's a difference with a doctor saying, you can't fight. You're not clear to fight. And you've got a cold or a virus and you probably shouldn't fight. They sound very similar, but there is a difference. So there's been some sort of inconsistent messaging and inconsistent testimony, if you like, about why Daniel Dubois withdrew from the Parker fight. Parker himself has alluded to the fact that he finds it difficult to understand. And then, we've got Anthony Joshua before his loss against Dubois, sort of kind of teasing and saying things about, why were you going to Brazil? What were you doing in Brazil? Many of us thought it's because he had a girlfriend in Brazil, which he might well have, which is wonderful. And then some others sort of were talking about, well, you can get Brazilian beef there. I also said that, but sort of tongue-in-cheek, right? But when I got that by all means necessary mantra bouncing around in the old brain box, and then I start thinking about all these things, I'm wondering, is something going on that Daniel is not totally comfortable with, but he's not going to lie and say, everything's perfect. But maybe he's trying to tell us all something. And of course, Daniel hasn't come out and had a press conference and spoken to media, not even spoken to the children that follow them around, the YouTube kids who are very, very successful in their own right, but never really ask anything approximating a meaningful question. And I'm wondering, is that because Daniel is simply not prepared to engage in a BS narrative? And are they hiding him away because they know that if he's questioned even the most gentle, softball, pillow-fisted type questions, he's going to blurt something out? I don't know. But anyways, these things combined in my head make it really difficult for me to get behind Daniel in the way that I would like to. I mean, for example, like I say, I've got no issues whatsoever getting behind Caroline's career, cheering her on. But there's something that's sort of holding me back. And I do think it is that I've taken on board Daniel's by all means necessary. And then when things have happened, be it moving from being able to be dropped by a jab from Usyk to being able to eat Hrgovic right hands like I eat cookies, to his withdrawal from the Parker fight, things start to sort of solidify in my mind. Probably completely, unreasonable of me to think the way I do. It won't be the first time I've been unreasonable in my thought process. But anyhow, that's how I am not fully on board and supporting and cheering on Daniel Dubois. Not for any other reason, not because he's a Brit or anything like that. It's just that something is just not sitting right with me. I'd love to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments section below. Please like this video, please share, please subscribe, all that good stuff. Most importantly, have a fabulous day. Cheers. Thank you very much.